I never imagined that the man I trusted with my whole heart, the man I married with the belief that he was my safe place, would be the one to betray me in a way I could never forget. For 8 years we shared a life. We laughed together, fought together, dreamed together. We planned our future, talked about growing old side by side, and I truly believed we were a team. But looking back now, I realize I ignored the first cracks when they appeared. They were small at first. Little changes in his routine, little shifts in his tone. He started staying late at work more often. He would tell me about deadlines, about urgent meetings, about last-minute projects. I tried to be understanding. I told myself this was what a supportive wife did. I would even bring him coffee or dinner sometimes, but he never looked happy to see me when I showed up unexpectedly. His smile would be polite but forced, his body language stiff, like my presence was a disruption rather than a comfort. Then Annie came into the picture. She was introduced at one of his office events, a loud, outgoing woman who seemed to command attention wherever she went. She laughed in that high-ringing way that made people turn their heads. Her clothes were always a little too tight, her hand lingered a little too long when she shook yours, and her eyes when they landed on my husband, stayed there just a little too long. That night I told him, "She seems friendly." He chuckled. "She's just like that with everyone. You have nothing to worry about." I wanted to believe him, but something in me shifted. It was like a tiny seed of doubt had been planted, and no matter how hard I tried to ignore it, it began to grow. In the weeks that followed, I noticed her name popping up in conversation more often. Annie recommended this place. Annie said the funniest thing today. Annie helped me fix that report. It was never anything overtly suspicious, but the frequency was enough to make that little seed in my stomach take root. Then one night while he was in the shower, his phone lit up on the nightstand. I glanced over without meaning to, but the words on the screen froze me in place. "Thanks for today. You always make things better, Redheart." My chest tightened. My hands trembled. I set the phone down as if it had burned me, and by the time he came out of the bathroom, I had plastered a smile on my face. I said nothing, but in my head the questions were screaming. A few days later he came home looking distracted. He told me he had to help a friend on Saturday, moving some furniture. I asked who. He hesitated, then said it was just someone from work, and that I didn't know them. His tone was casual, but I could hear the faint edge of defensiveness in his voice. I smiled, told him it was fine, but my gut was screaming at me. That night while he slept, I checked his phone. His messages with Annie were gone. Completely erased. People only delete what they don't want found. That was my confirmation. I wasn't imagining things. Over the next 2 days I became my own detective. I reached out to a tech-savvy friend and asked if she could help me recover deleted messages. She hesitated, but when she saw the look in my eyes, she didn't question me. By Friday night I had them. Weeks of conversations between him and Annie. They weren't explicit, but they were intimate in a way that only people on the edge of something dangerous talk to each other. Jokes that didn't need explaining. "Wish you were here" messages. And then I saw it, the line that made my blood run cold. "She's too insecure." That's why I didn't tell her about Saturday. No. That wasn't insecurity. That was him protecting himself from guilt and making it sound like my flaw. I didn't confront him. Not yet. I decided to let him walk straight into his own trap. On Saturday morning, he dressed in his casual but nice outfit and sprayed his special cologne, the one he usually saved for date nights with me. "You sure you don't mind me being out all day?" he asked. I smiled sweetly and said, "Of course not. Have a great time." The second he left, I grabbed my keys. I already knew where he was going. Annie had posted on Instagram about her moving day, with the address visible in the background of one of her photos. I parked a few houses away and waited. When his car pulled up, I saw him get out with a bag of snacks in his hand, laughing into his phone. Annie came out, dressed in shorts and a tank top, and hugged him like they were more than just coworkers. My knuckles turned white around the steering wheel. Every part of me wanted to march over there and end it right then, but I stayed put. My revenge would be sweeter if I waited. That night, he came home exhausted and smiling, kissed me goodnight, and fell asleep almost instantly. I lay there beside him staring at the ceiling, and I realized I didn't love him anymore. Whatever love had been there had been replaced by something sharper, colder. I got up quietly and began packing. I had been moving money from our joint account to my own private account for weeks now, just in case. I took my clothes, my personal documents, my laptop, my jewelry, anything that mattered to me. I also gathered every piece of evidence I had. Screenshots of the recovered messages, the photo I'd taken from my car, and even a few public posts Annie had made that hinted at their closeness. I placed them all neatly in a folder on the kitchen table along with a single note. You said you were protecting me from my insecurities. The truth is, you were protecting yourself from your own guilt. Annie can have you now. I hope she's worth everything you just lost. The next morning before he woke up, I was gone. I mailed copies of the evidence to his parents, his sister, and Annie's boyfriend. Yes, she had one. And I suspected he'd be very interested to know how she spent her Saturdays. By lunchtime, my phone was buzzing with messages from mutual friends. Is this true? What happened? Oh my God. I didn't answer a single one. I didn't need to. My silence was its own statement. 2 days later, he showed up at my sister's house. He looked awful, unshaven, dark circles under his eyes, like he hadn't slept since I left. It wasn't what it looked like, he said desperately. We were just friends. I didn't want to upset you. I looked at him and felt nothing. No sadness, no longing, no anger. Just the clarity of knowing I didn't need him anymore. You didn't want to upset me? You lied to me. You deleted messages. You made me think I was the problem. That's not protecting me, that's gaslighting. He begged me to come home to work it out. I smiled, but it wasn't a smile of kindness. You taught me that honesty is the best policy, I said softly. Too bad you didn't live by it. Then I closed the door. It's been months now. I have my own apartment, my own space, and my own life. I see a therapist, I've rebuilt my confidence, and I've started remembering what it feels like to be myself again. People think revenge means hurting someone else. But for me, it meant reclaiming my power, walking away while his world collapsed under the weight of his own choices. He built his own trap the moment he decided to lie. I just made sure he fell into it and that the door locked behind him,